Let's learn something today.
I want to talk about something today that honestly used to confuse the shit out of me.
And that is the difference between density versus dimension.
Honestly, there are a lot of different ways to explain this. I'm going to explain it in a way that I understand it, and I hope it brings some sort of insight to you. So the difference between density and dimension can be seen as 5 people may occupy a room and they are all in the same dimension. However, they can be operating off of different densities. So essentially, the density can be seen as the point of consciousness that physical being is operating from, or non-physical being. Now, the dimension can be seen as the point or the position that consciousness is operating from. So think of it as layers of a sandwich. The bread, the cheese, the meat, whatever you like on your sandwich, each individual item can be seen as a different dimension that is layered on top of one another, but still simultaneously part of the whole. Now, the different ingredients to that sandwich can be seen as the multidimensional aspects of the self. Each one occupies a specific dimension and again are all part of the same. Interdimensional beings, which we all are by the way, are beings that can shift in and out of different layers of reality. Now, it's very interesting to look at the different layers of densities and how that correlates to consciousness. The first and the most basic density can be seen as awareness as a single point or simply just matter. Now, in terms of density, again, we're talking about the frequency bandwidth. So that first density makes up all of the genetic codes, molecules, atoms, elements, all of the basic elements that create life. Now, the second density can be seen as biological matter or the development of a group or a species identity. This form of consciousness does not express an ego or separation from the whole or the group. Most of the plant and animal kingdom reside within the second density. When we're first born in our first and second years of life, we also reside within this density. This form of density is unable to differentiate itself from its external environment and things going on around it. It's important to note that as a fetus, the soul demonstrates the first density. It is aware that it is intricately connected with everything around it in its environment. When a child is around the age of 2 years old, it starts to move into second density consciousness, as we explained before. Now, the separation between itself and the environment starts to be perceived within the second density as the desires within oneself start to become externalized. Now, the difference between second and third density is the lack of a distinct ability to differentiate oneself between oneself and the environment. Now, this moves us into third density. Third density is when the ego becomes present. We start to fully distinguish ourselves from our environment. Within that third density, other than the development of the personal identity, comes the awareness and the ability to remember the past, to create your own future while being aware of the present. This is the prime density that human consciousness occupies. Third density creates that illusion of separation, which allows us the challenge and the ability to grow and expand. This is the density that expresses the most separation from the whole of collective consciousness. It's also said to be the most intense level of experience in the state of growth of the consciousness. Humanity is currently at this time transitioning from third to fourth density. Now, our dolphin and whale friends currently exist within the fourth density. Fourth density can be seen or expressed as superconsciousness.
So this density reintegrates with the group without losing its sense of self-identity. As the density increases into the fourth dimension, the past, present, and future seem to become more fluid. One can start to interface with multidimensional realities. It is from the fourth density that makes it very, very hard for negative consciousness to continue to reside in. So I believe that is why we are under so much pressure in this time, as we are negative consciousness that exists within this world and within our very own selves are scared to death, because they know as we start to transition, they will be dismantled and left behind. Presently experiencing third and fourth density overlapping each other can account for an increased desire for peace, love, unity, and all of the beautiful things. However, when the vibrational rate of one's reality is increased, if we do not rise to the occasion, we can be faced with a lot of personal issues and challenges to overcome.